All right, let's talk about something pretty wild. What if you could just delete a painful breakup? I mean, completely wipe every single memory of it from your brain. Today, we're diving into the absolutely brilliant, mind-bending film Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which asks a really powerful question. Is a life without heartbreak actually a better life?
But the story takes that idea even a step further. It asks, what if you forgot someone completely, but your heart somehow remembered? Could you actually fall in love with the exact same person all over again? It's a crazy thought, right? So let's jump into the story right where our two characters do exactly that.
Okay, so our story kicks off with this really strange meeting in Montauk. We meet this guy, Joel. It is Valentine's Day of all days, and he wakes up feeling this weird, unexplainable emptiness. So on a total whim, he ditches work and just hops a train to this quiet little beach town called Montauk. He has no clue why he's there, but it just feels right. You know that feeling? And on the train home, he meets Clementine, and you can't miss her. She's got this vibrant, ever-changing hair color. And bam! The connection is instantaneous. It's this powerful sense of déjà vu, like they're just picking up a conversation they've been having for years.
And their first date? Wow, it's just so dreamlike and magical. Clementine, who's super impulsive, convinces the much more reserved Joel to go lie on a frozen lake with her at night. And as they're just lying there on the ice, looking up at the stars, there's this feeling of absolute perfect comfort. For two people who are total strangers, it feels almost unnervingly perfect.
So, you have to be asking, right? How is this possible? If they're complete strangers, why does everything feel so familiar? It's like we've walked into a story that's already halfway through. Well, to understand that, we need to rewind the clock just a little bit. This next part is where that beautiful, comfortable dream of their meeting just shatters. Let's talk about the shock of the erasure card, because we're about to discover the truly heartbreaking truth behind it all. You see, just a few days before that trip to Montauk, Joel and Clementine were a real couple, and they just had a terrible, terrible fight. So Joel, hoping to make things right, goes to her workplace on Valentine's Day with a gift. But when he finds her, she looks at him with absolutely no idea who he is. And to pour salt on the wound, she's acting all chummy with some other guy. Joel is, as you can imagine, absolutely crushed and confused. He goes to his friends, and they show him this card they got in the mail. It's a very formal-looking notice from a company, and it says, Clementine Krasinski has erased Joel Barish from her memory. Just take a second and imagine getting a card like that. So it turns out, in the world of this movie, there's a company called Lacuna Incorporated, and they offer this really radical solution for a broken heart: targeted memory removal. You can literally, medically, erase a person from your mind. And that is exactly what Clementine did to Joel. Joel is just shattered. He's in this spiral of anger and pain, and he basically decides he can't live with all these memories of her if she doesn't have a single one of him. So in a moment of pure reaction, he goes to Lacuna himself and makes an appointment. He's going to have every last memory of Clementine erased from his own mind. And that decision kicks off this surreal, frantic journey, a race against memory. What's wild is the procedure doesn't happen in a sterile clinic. It happens in his own apartment, while he's asleep, forcing him to quite literally race backward through his entire history with Clementine. The process itself is very systematic. The technicians erase the memories in reverse, so they start with the most recent, most painful stuff, that final awful fight. And then they just work their way backward, deleting every argument, every little resentment, all the way back to the very first time they met. But here's the catch. As the procedure wipes out all the bad stuff, Joel's subconscious is also forced to relive all the good memories. The laughter, the tenderness, the pure magic of why they fell in love. And deep down inside his own mind, he starts screaming, "This is a huge mistake. I don't want to lose this. Stop!" And the chaos of this whole night is just brilliant. Inside Joel's head, he's in a desperate, frantic fight, trying to hide his memories of Clementine in random parts of his brain, like his childhood, anywhere she doesn't belong, just to save them. But in the real world, the technicians are drinking, they're talking, they're completely oblivious to the full-on war being waged inside their patient's head. But despite his incredible fight, it's just not enough. The head doctor eventually shows up and gets the process back on track. And you just have to watch as, one by one, every memory fades away, until there's only one left, the day they first met on that beach in Montauk. And then,
That's gone too.
So, a new beginning or the same end? The procedure is complete. Joel wakes up and Clementine is just gone from his mind. And this is the morning he wakes up and impulsively decides to go to Montauk, bringing us right back to the beginning of the story, full circle.
But there's a twist. Of course there's a twist. There is a disgruntled employee at the Lacuna Clinic and nurse named Mary. She discovers that she herself had an affair with the head doctor and then had her own memory of it erased. And when she finds out, she is horrified and she is furious. So in this amazing act of rebellion, she goes rogue. She steals all the clinic's files. And in them, she finds a key part of the process. Every patient has to make a cassette tape, a raw, brutal confession of everything they hated about the person they're erasing. And Mary, she mails every single one of those tapes back to the patients.
So picture this. Joel and Clementine. They're fresh off this wonderful new first date, sitting in the car, and Clementine gets her mail. She finds this cassette, pops it in, and suddenly they are both listening to her voice from a past she doesn't remember, viciously listing all of Joel's flaws, that he's boring, that he never talks. It's just devastating.
Clementine is completely crushed, and she runs out of the car. And when Joel gets home, he finds his own tape waiting for him. Now he has to listen to his own voice detailing all of her flaws, that she's impulsive, that she drinks too much. And in that moment, they both know the truth. Not only were they in a relationship, but it ended so badly they paid to forget it ever happened.
So this confronts them with the ultimate choice. I mean, they've literally been handed a blueprint for their own relationship's failure. They know every flaw, every fight that's coming. So what do? Do you just walk away to avoid all the pain you know is inevitable? Or do you try again, armed with all this painful knowledge?
And in this beautiful, perfectly honest moment, Clementine basically tells him, I'm going to get bored with you, and you're going to find me annoying. And Joel just looks at her and says, okay. And she says it back. They accept it, they choose to embrace all the uncertainty and give their love another shot, flaws and all.
So we're left with this massive question. The film suggests that maybe our hearts can remember what our minds are forced to forget. But it also forces us to ask ourselves, are the painful parts of our lives, the heartbreaks and the fights, what actually define us? If you could erase all that pain, would you risk erasing a piece of yourself along with it? It's something to think about.